Welcome to the Peak of Fiction podcast, the podcast where we dive deep into the very best pieces of media, whether it be comics, anime, manga, movies, TV shows, and more, to find the very peak of fiction. And on this special episode, we are covering Dragon Ball Z, specifically the manga. And since Dragon Ball Z is a very long series, and it'd be very hard to do a full-on peak breakdown, we will be covering saga by saga, as we might come back and forth to this topic. So today we'll be covering the Saiyan Saga, right? The very first saga of Dragon Ball Z, the one that really kicked things off in a really big way, and I would say changed kind of like anime culture, kind of everything once it came out, especially once it came out overseas. But in order to do this, we have our merry co-hosts. We have Gray the Samurai returning finally.
Great to be here, everyone. Thank y'all for having me. Very excited to break down one of the most iconic sagas in anime.
Supa O.
That's Super Saiyan O to you. You feel me?
Super Saiyan. Right.
Oh, we're not there yet, though. But yeah, how's you going, party people?
Right. And Beto coming in to review Dragon Ball Z. Beto, how are we feeling?
Feeling good. Feeling great. Hi. It's an honor to do this. That's the first time.
This is like your Black Panther, right?
Maybe.
We got real Latino representation in the pod.
Oh my goodness. Yeah, man. This is just it's just a once in a lifetime opportunity. I just have tears in my eyes right now.
All right, we can't actually. No. Let's talk about. Dragon Ball Z is a series that I think has a massive cultural impact, right? So I guess we can go into our initial impressions / just talk about Dragon Ball Z in general. We can go into what is everyone's history with this series.
Go. Honestly, I started Dragon Ball. I started Dragon Ball with like Dragon Ball Z Kai. That would air every Saturday on 4Kids TV.
Yeah, same here. Dragon Ball Z Kai, man. Don't stop, don't stop, don't stop. So much to be found. You can find paradise.
Go. So
yeah,
but that
classic.
But yeah, I like Dragon Ball. Dragon Ball for me it's never been like one of my top series, admittedly, but I've always like enjoyed it. And back then, it took a minute before I actually like started reading it. I guess sequentially is like the word, where from the beginning to like the end, because like I always caught episodes of it, mostly of like the Frieza. Look at thing about it, the Frieza and Saiyan Saga parts, but I never like sat through it and watched it like whole. But like I knew all like the big moments for a lot of these arcs. It wasn't until like later, until I was like in like high school, maybe even end of high school. Now I think about it, because Super was coming out that point, where I read the manga at that point, but I read the Buu Saga, and then after reading the Buu Saga, I'm like, okay, let me go back and watch the Saiyan Saga through the Cell. And also big thing sorry, I think an echo's coming through one of you. But no,
sorry, my AirPods just like decided to like spaz out real quick.
No worries. But yeah, and also another big thing that got me really into the series was, weirdly enough, Dragon Ball Abridged by Team 4-Star. And that is like the best. That is a classic. The line, and honestly, admittedly, it's probably like the best as far as the bridge series goes. It's probably the most like accurate to the quote accurate to the source material they could get when it comes to a bridge. When it comes to like abridges, like they really like knock it out the park. And low key, if I need to rewatch the series, sometimes I'd be going back to that.
Yeah. Remember the Bridge series? Actually, I was talking. Remember Abridged series? Remember there was a bunch of those?
Yeah, they used to be everywhere.
Now, of course, I think it's because Team 4-Star were so good, but there used to be like so many abridged series back in the day. During that, like, I would say the 2010s period, you had like Sword Art Online abridged.
Sword Art Online was a big one. Yu-Gi-Oh!
You had the JoJo abridged, which was really good.
I never seen that one.
It was based off of the Part 3 OVA.
Okay.
It was really funny, but he was supposed to like start like the main series, but he just never got around to it. You know, different things got caught up. There's a lot of work, and plus I think that was when the time when copyright was going nutty. So, you know, it never got done. But abridged series were really fun. And, you know, and I think you're right. Like I said, it did adapt it pretty closely while having some bits. I think some of the problem with bridge series is they get too like in their own bits.
Stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's truly like a lost art now. Shout out to Obeezy doing the Hood Naruto. I don't know if any of y'all ever see because of that. That's great.
Hood Naruto is great. It's phenomenal.
But yeah, no, Team T4 and also the original work about is really special, you know. Over time I've genuinely my love for Dragon Ball has started to get like deeper and deeper. And after watching Super, I get to say like I'm a Dragon Ball fan for sure. I'm a real Dragon Ball fan.
I guess for me, Dragon Ball is like comfort food. It's most of them. Now I'll say I think there are a few arcs in Dragon Ball that are like genuinely great, like, you know, works of art, right? But for me personally, right, I would say post Cell Saga, it is the writing may not be the best, but I always like watching it. Right. I always like to go back to it. I love watching the movies and stuff. And yeah, you know, there's cliches, there's this and that, but I'm never now entertained by Dragon Ball. I've never went to a Dragon Ball movie and was like, oh, I was not entertained. I always said, oh, that was okay. But there's always something fun, like some new form, some new thing going on. And it's such like a deeply rich, you know, kind of series. There's always these new ideas. And, you know, Akira Toriyama, R.I.P., was such like a genius when it came to what he made and how he incorporated designs. And like I think like a lot of good mangaka, he never lost like his humor. He never lost like kind of the whimsy that made like Dragon Ball work. And for me, I think that's why it really worked. My personal relation with Dragon Ball is I read Kai and I watched Kai. Right. I think I watched Kai, actually. I was pretty on the dot of Kai, but then I think the Kai episode stopped around the Cell Saga. So I was hungry for more Dragon Ball. So it was like, 2013? And what was a boy to do except watch Dragon Ball episodes on YouTube that were in like 360p and were in 10-minute parts. Okay. And I think I did the entire. I think I did the entire Majin Buu saga like that. So, was that the optimal way? No, but
it was the OG way.
It was the OG way. It got the job done. Done. And I am I'm a pretty big Dragon Ball fan. Like, I'm not a crazy Dragon Ball fan. Like, it's not the only thing I watch, but it's always enjoyable. Always has a place in my heart. I always like the characters. Big fan of like the fighting game. Dragon Ball Fighters is fantastic. And of course, I got to shout out my man, Piccolo, Big Green. You know, I'm rocking his fit today. But yeah, you know, we love it.
Best father in anime, debatably.
Best father in anime.
All right. I if I may, Beto, I want to save your perspective for last.
Of course,
if that's okay.
Yeah.
Because I do want to hear about from your side of the coin how it impacted you. Because I'll speak for myself. I was late to the Dragon Ball Z train, kind of, for the TV show, but I got introduced to Dragon Ball Z in like bite-sized pieces through Toonami. Toonami was a television program that would show on like weekend evenings, and it would have a lot of anime content. And I got hip to.
You have to explain Toonami because Toonami's dead now.
Yeah, there may be a part of our viewership that is unfamiliar with Toonami. It was hosted by an android robot named Tom, with a really cool voice, and Tom would essentially have these really in-depth, really fun like chops with like hip hop and like lo-fi hip hop and like anime bit-sized pieces kind of pieced together and some really cool visuals. It was awesome. It was really, really, really. It was an iconic part of the childhood for so many people in their 20 to 30s right now, right? But I say that to say, I at the time did not watch Dragon Ball Z from beginning to end in standard sequence. I saw bits and flashes, and I was like, "This is really cool. I mean, I enjoy this. This is great." Where I actually got to enjoy the story in a bit more of a standard sequence was through the games. So
All right.
there was a game for Game Boy Advanced, Game Boy Advance called The Legend of Goku. There was a sequel called The Legend of Goku 2. Then there was another sequel called Dragon Ball Z Boost Fury. And these were games for the Game Boy Advance that literally took you through the entire full-length story of all of Dragon Ball Z in a video game format for GBA. I during my youth was more of a gamer than an anime fan. I loved anime, but I didn't watch it all the time because I didn't have easy access to it. Nowadays, there's streaming services that exist. Internet access is a lot easier to get to. For me, though, gaming was my gateway. So I was playing Legend of Goku 2 religiously. I knew the story through the games, but I never watched the story until a bit later in life. And then when I watched the story, the full story, I said, man, the games did a really great job of giving me an opportunity to play through the story. But the story itself, from an anime visual, is amazing. It's beautiful, really engaging, really interesting. I'm excited today to discuss one of my favorite characters, one of my favorite rivals in anime, who had a big role in the Saiyan Saga. But for me, I was like, man, I love this story. This story is great. And gamers that are into anime will have their own elements that they remember from Dragon Ball Z, because Budokai Tenkaichi was one of the most famous fighting games of all time. And it's a Dragon Ball Z fighter, right? Dragon Ball Sagas I played religiously. Amazing action adventure Dragon Ball Z game. And I remember, it's so funny, I had a Hispanic barber. I went to this barber shop, and on the television in Spanish is Dragon Ball Z.
Yep.
And that was my first introduction. Here's the interesting thing. That was my first introduction to how widespread I realized Dragon Ball Z was, right? Because I, as a Black kid in the inner city, was exposed to this, and I thought it was really cool. And I'm like, clearly this is big in like Japan. So the Asian community really loves Dragon Ball Z. That I'm clear on. The Black community clearly loves Dragon Ball Z. That's who I'm surrounded by. It's my culture. That's what I'm clear on. Come to find out, my exposure to the Hispanic community was like, oh shoot, y'all too? I want to do this too? Like, really deep into Dragon Ball Z. And then it almost made me think like, yo, like, this show is so impactful to so many people. And it's so funny. If you've been watching Peak of Fiction for a while, you know that one of our categories that we grade things on is hype and aura, hype moments and aura. And I would be remiss to say, I don't think, so let me debate this. This is my own personal opinion. I don't think any series has more hype moments in Dragon Ball Z. I think the moments of hype and the moments of aura, quite literally aura, you know what I'm saying? Like the first time we see Goku go Super Saiyan, or like incredible moments with some really impactful characters, or intense villain fights. I think there are moments where it's literally just like, man, this is cool. And it was moments that got me as a kid really excited. Like I would see these moments of excitement and I would feel it. I would feel the blood rushing through my veins with energy, with excitement. And I would literally react viscerally to these things. And it didn't stop as I got older. To be candid, I feel like Dragon Ball Z, for many fans, never stops being cool, never stops being interesting, never stops being engaging. As Supa O mentioned a moment ago, even as he grew older, his love for Dragon Ball Z simply deepened. I would share that as a person that was a big fan from the beginning, I think my appreciation for it deepened because I saw so many other people showing so much love this series that meant so much to me. But that's my perspective of Dragon Ball Z as a gamer who fell in love with it from the games, came to the anime, saw everything connected, and really was impressed by what they crafted. Shout out to the legend Toriyama. What an incredible story he built through Dragon Ball. I think it's worth noting that impactful piece for sure.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, Beto. So you would say you are of Latino descent, correct?
Yeah, I have some heritage here.
And yet I've heard this is your first time touching Dragon Ball.
This is my first time ever engaging with Dragon Ball ever with any kinds of anime or manga. I never grew up with it because I guess my dad never reached to Dragon Ball, didn't reach to my dad, or my dad didn't reach to Dragon Ball. So yeah, I never got to that, but I do understand the hype. I do understand the love that these characters has given to people, and just the importance of the story. That I wasn't annoyed, or I wasn't just like pushing it away. I was just like, there was so much that I felt like I don't know where to start, but it's super cool of what this series is. I just by the time I started reading this version and this saga, I didn't feel like I was lost. It was kind of self-explanatory from the beginning to where I had to stop. And I truly think this is like a really great series, a really great manga that I'm glad to be part of it at this point. So I'm just happy to be here.
We're happy to have you. Now, before I get into the swift summary, I have to do a small explainer, which I think is the most crazy thing about Dragon Ball Z, in my opinion. Right, the Saiyan Saga, which I enjoy. I would say my impression. I enjoyed when I enjoyed my read of it. Dragon Ball Z is a sequel series.
Yeah.
To Dragon Ball. Okay, as in Goku is a character who already had a full character development adventure already. In Dragon Ball, which was kind of like a Journey to the West style adventure, right? With Goku as Wukong. And he did all the stuff, and he got married, and that was that. And then Akira Toriyama decided, I'm going to make a sequel series, and I'm going to drop some of the biggest retcons and lore bombs you've ever seen. Because, why not, right? I'm going to turn this into like a more like, battle-centered manga and upend every single thing that I've done until this point. Just for fun, I guess. And I think that's what makes it like so interesting. So in order to get into this, we will now get into our summary. And I'll give a brief summary of Dragon Ball. Cue the music. Like this time on Dragon Ball Z. All right. So the Saiyan Saga, or I say Dragon Ball Z in this case, begins with Goku. He is he's a parent. He's a father now. He got married to Chi-Chi. He's enjoying life, training, running around, doing his thing. Everything's going pretty good for Goku. Meanwhile, Piccolo, right, is, still kind of seething from the last time they thought during the World Tournament. It's like, maybe one day I'll get Goku, I'll trade my power and I'll get, revenge. But this is interrupted by an arrival of a pod from space. And in that pod from space is Raditz. And Raditz is a Saiyan, which to us is like I would say, such a common concept. Of course, he's a Saiyan. But you have to understand, for a Dragon Ball reader, they've never heard of a Saiyan before. All you know is Raditz has a tail, like Goku had a tail, right? And he shows up and he says, I'm looking for Kakarot, which a Dragon Ball reader would not know who that was. He says, I'm looking for Kakarot, my brother, right? And he is unstoppable. right? He's so much stronger than Piccolo, who was the strongest opponent of the last, manga, is able to pretty easily beat Piccolo. And he has this device that can track power levels, and he's like, I'm going to find Kakarot. He finds him, he rolls up on Goku, and says, hey, it's me, your brother. By the way, you're an alien. The entire time, actually. You're an alien, you came from space, and when you hit your head, I guess, because Goku canonically did hit his head as a baby in Dragon Ball, that, made you less evil. I don't, I know we got further retcons later on about Bardock, but I guess the original plot is they sent a baby to Earth to conquer it, which is kind of I don't know, that's I don't know about that plan. I really don't. You didn't leave any instructions or anything. I don't, But anyways, Raditz is like, yo, it's time. Fulfill your destiny, brother. Let's go take over this planet so we can continue, our little Saiyan brigade. And Goku's like, no, what are you talking about? I love Earth, right? Everything's great. And he's like, okay, well, then in that case, I'll kidnap your son. And, beat you up. I'm going to take your son. And here's your choice. You either join me, and, as a show of good faith, kill 100 people and show that you're willing to be down for the cause, or I'm going to kill your son. Right? And Piccolo, this causes, Piccolo and Goku have to do a little team up. Because they're like, okay, we can't beat him on our own, but maybe together we can do something to take him down. And they show up. They are barely able to fight him, right? Even the two of them. And you have to understand, as a Dragon Ball reader, these are the strongest people in the series. Okay? The strongest fighters on Earth. And they can barely throw down with this new guy. So they get the scrapping. Gohan shows the first bit of his power, which I think is good characterization, which gets developed. It pays off very well. Many arcs down the line. But, Gohan, when he's mad, very strong. Very strong. And he puts the hurt in a little bit of Raditz. Still not enough to take him out. And they realize, Piccolo has a move that can go through Raditz's armor, but the only way to do it is someone has to hold him down. So Goku puts Raditz in a full Nelson and says, Piccolo, shoot us both. Right? Shoot us both. And Piccolo is like, all right, hey man, I don't even like you like that. I don't mess with you for real. So he does a special beam cannon and lasers both Goku and Raditz. And they're like, well, that sucks. But, they're not really stressing it. Because they're like, whatever, man. We can just bring it back with the Dragon Balls. We can bring it back to life. It'll be alright. But Raditz is like, actually, I was on a phone call the whole time. I've been on Zoom. I've been on Zoom the entire time, in a meeting when I was trying to take over your planet. And it turns out I've been beaming this information back, and two of my comrades, other Saiyans, know that the Dragon Balls exist. And they're gonna show up at your door in 1 year. So, hey, do what you gotta do. I may be dead, but, I'm getting the last laugh here. So Goku dies. It's very sad. And, they have to train. They get ready for a year, right? And they're like, all right, we'll get the Dragon Balls. We'll bring Goku back. We'll figure it out. And, Piccolo's other half, Kami, kind of teleports Goku away directly to the underworld to, fast track this part of process. And Piccolo's like, all right, well, I got 1 year. More Saiyans are coming. He grabs Gohan and says, Gohan, you got potential. I know you're 5, but you got a real heart on you, kid. I'm going to train you to be a warrior. So he kidnaps Gohan and takes him to the wilderness to train for a year. Meanwhile, Goku is like, all right, he goes to the underworld and he's like, you know what? You need to hook up with Kai and King Kai, and he'll be able to train you even more than you are here. You have to run I forget how many miles, a crazy distance along Snake Way, which takes Goku 3 months or something like that. To get. Was you either run all the way through Snake Way to get to King Kai, and when you get there, you'll be able to learn more, train more, get stronger. Because, it's better off you're, dead training with this guy than get resurrected and train on Earth. So then all the other Z Warriors show up, all the homies from Dragon Ball show up. You got Yamcha, you got Krillin, you got Tien, and they Chaozu, and they all show up. They start training on Kami's lookout, and they're all getting ready for the arrival of Vegeta and Nappa. Okay, and Nappa's a big one, Vegeta's a small one. It's very clear who's in charge, and that's the little guy Vegeta. And they have a real bad attitude. They casually kill entire planets. They don't really care. Very short-sighted, I would say. Vegeta's a very short-sighted villain. It appears that they are wiping off entire planets as part of a real estate scheme. For a character, I guess you'll meet later on, Frieza, but they're basically doing a real estate hustle. And Nappa's like, hey, maybe we can use the Dragon Balls to bring back Raditz, and Vegeta's like, no, that's stupid. I'm the immortality, right? And Nappa keeps bringing up, I think, good ideas, but Vegeta just can't conceive of them ever. I think at some point, Nappa's like, wow, these half Saiyan kids are pretty strong. Maybe we could go on Earth and we could raise children. And she's like, no, that's stupid. I wouldn't want to raise them. And it's like, I don't know, man. Vegeta, there's 3 Saiyans, man.
But 2 wants to repopulate the Saiyans.
The numbers are dropping, man. The numbers are dropping. Okay, if Vegeta won at this time, he'd be the only Saiyan left. Okay, but whatever. That's neither here nor there. Vegeta and Nappa are on their way to Earth. Right, everyone's training up. But Goku goes to King Kai, and King Kai teaches him some new techniques like the Spirit Bomb, the Kaioken. He really gets a chance to level up, and he's way stronger than he was before. But, Vegeta and Nappa show up early, right? So Goku has to make it all the way back through Snake Way, which can do a lot faster. But he is on the clock trying to get to his friends as fast as possible. And meanwhile, Vegeta and Nappa are very strong. They are very strong. Okay. I'll bring up power scaling later, but, if you ever want to power scale against Dragon Ball, remember this one fact.
Don't.
Nappa showed up in Central City, lifted 2 fingers, and blew up the entire city, nuked the city off the map, visible from space. All right? I'm just saying. So,
crazy.
So
bro.
they're
Crazy
bad dudes. They're bad dudes. They're running around, and the Z fighters are like, you know what? It's fine. We'll take you down. They do not take them. They do not take them down. At first, they're like, you know what? We're not going to fight you. We're going to put on the Cybermen. The Cybermen are their little green guys, and each of them are as powerful as Raditz. But Z fighters, they got some moves, right? At least the Z fighters are all strong as Raditz. They're all able to beat the Cybermen pretty effectively, except Yamcha. Yamcha beats the Cybermen, but he's not paying attention, and the Cyberman jumps on him and blows himself off, killing Yamcha in a pretty iconic pose. So, then they beat the Cybermen, and now they're all against Nappa. From Nappa's perspective, he's like, you know what? 4 Z fighters walking up on me. Boom. Now it's just 3. Boom. Now it's just 2. Boom, boom. Now it's just me. No chance. No chance. They all go down. Tien dies. Chaozu dies. Yamcha dies.
In a very iconic way, for the record.
Yeah, yes. And it's just Gohan.
Iconic Yamcha death.
Gohan, Piccolo, and Krillin that are left. They all put in a good effort. Okay? My boy Krillin almost killed Nappa. And Vegeta had to tell him to dodge because he would have sliced Nappa right in half, bro. That would have been a very different story. If Krillin just cut Nappa in half with his Destructo disc. And, so they're all taken out. And then Gohan is about to get killed by Nappa. And Piccolo, the former villain, an antagonist of the first part, jumps in front of the beam and sacrifices himself for Gohan. And, this kind of pushes his character forward because he really has he was supposed to be the evil half of Kami. And he softened. He softened so much that he's like, and he's become like a heroic character. Love, all that time when he trained him, he really grew fond of that boy. So finally, Goku shows up. Okay, Goku shows up when he's mad. And he does one of the coolest things a character can ever do when they show up. And that's when the villains are like, ho, it's time, we're gonna fight, right? And then the hero just walks right past them coldly and goes to their friends and like, are you all right? Completely just always the best. Okay, when Luffy did it in Wano, it was cold. When Goku did it here, it was cold. So
when I did it for y'all, it was cool. It was cold.
It was. We'll never forget the Great Target incident.
Yeah.
So Goku stunts on Nappa. Goku is stunting on him completely, and like Nappa can't do anything about it. All right, he got some new techniques, he got some new stuff. This is where we get the like, Vegeta, what is his power level? It's over 9,000, and he crushes the thing. So
interestingly,
they cannot conceive of the fact that the Earthlings can both hide their ki, change their ki powers, concentrate their powers. They have a bunch of tricks up their sleeves. And yeah, Goku completely mops the floor with Nappa and breaks his back. Breaks his back and paralyzes him. And Nappa's like, Vegeta, please help me. And Vegeta, instead of helping him, throws him into the sky and vaporizes him. Dwindling the number of Saiyans once again. He's supposed to be the Prince of all Saiyans. He'll say this a lot. He'll say he's a Prince of all Saiyans. And he is just, those numbers are going down.
How many Saiyans? Yeah, I know.
All two.
All two. So then it's like, okay, now Goku and Vegeta got to fight for real. And it is a fight. Okay, Vegeta's still stronger, but Goku got technique, he got heart, he has to Kaioken, he has to really push himself. It's a really good fight. It's really well choreographed, right? They're going back and forth, and Goku's finally able to get some real hits by pushing himself beyond what he should be able to do. He goes Kaioken times 3, and Vegeta does not like getting hit. He's not like getting hit. He does not getting like losing. He's a sore loser. He says, you know what? I'll guess what? I'll just blow up the entire planet. Okay? I'm just going to blow up the entire planet. How would you like that? But Goku's able to deflect his Gal Gun, his Kamehameha, right? And push back Vegeta. But that's not the end of the fight. There's multiple times I was surprised. That's not where the fight ends. Vegeta is very tenacious, right? And they keep nature. Going. Yeah. He's weakened, but Vegeta has one trick up his sleeve, and they tie in some lore before, because in the original series, Goku had a tail, and during the full moon, he would transform into a giant ape and go crazy and rampage. And that's how his grandpa died. And it turns as a Saiyan power, right? When they have a full moon, they can do that. And Vegeta gives an entire explanation about like green light or radiation or whatever. Like actually a surprisingly in-depth scientific explanation for why they can become a big monkey. Then they proceed to he's like, well, there's no moon, because I forgot to mention this. Piccolo blew up the moon casually earlier in the arc because Gohan had transformed into an ape. So Vegeta's like, you know what? No problem. We Saiyans, we can make our own moons. So he makes a little moon for himself, transforms into an ape, and begins mopping the floor with Goku. Goku blinds him real quick, tries to get a spirit bomb going. Doesn't have the strength, doesn't have the time to do it. Right? Gets knocked back, and he's getting beaten up pretty badly. Right? But thankfully, the homies do slide. All right? And Yajirobe, who is, in this grand scheme of things, a relatively normal guy, a normal fat guy with a sword, right? So skilled, jumps up and slices off Vegeta's tail when he's not looking, allowing him to revert back to human. Krillin and Gohan show up, and Goku's able to pass the spirit ball to Krillin, who throws at Vegeta, misses, but Gohan's able to deflect it back, and it fries Vegeta. pretty badly, right? And it ain't looking good, but Vegeta's still got a little more fight in him.
Which is crazy.
He's still got a little more. He's not doing well, but no one's doing well in the fight, and he's just a little bit stronger. He's like, all right, I don't care. I'm gonna kick you guys out. I'm gonna get away, and I'm gonna come back. Don't worry, right? Gohan sees the moon, transforms into a great ape. Isn't able to do too much, but even though he gets his tail cut off by Vegeta, he does fall on Vegeta with the full force of a giant monkey, and that is enough to put Vegeta down, right? And Vegeta says, "I can't believe I'm doing this," but he calls his Uber and says, "I'm getting out of here." And he is about to get away, and Krillin's like, "Okay, you know what? I'm gonna kill him." Right, he's done all this damage. I'm taking him out right here. I just sword up. And Goku, inexplicably, is like, Krillin, don't do it. And it's like, why? He was really cool. I like to fight him. And, maybe we'll fight again. And he's like, what are you talking about? He's like, no, just trust me. Trust me, bro. You'll be good. You'll be really hype. Okay? He's like, okay, you know what, Goku, you did all the work. You did like 99% of the work. Okay, if you want to let him go, you can let him go. Vegeta gets in his pod and runs off, scurries away. He's like, oh, I'll get you guys. And since Vegeta knows that, okay, the Namekians, right? Piccolo's a Namekian, and he made the Dragon Balls. I know where I can get more Namekians. So I'm going to roll up to Planet Namek, and I'm going to get Dragon Balls there. Right? And Krillin, who hears about this, is like, okay, well, maybe if we go to Planet Namek, we can get the Dragon Balls, and we can bring back Piccolo, bring back our Dragon Balls, and then we can, be all straight and bring everyone back to life who died before. So now they have a new purpose, a new mission. Goku heals up, Gohan heals up, but everyone's like, all right, we got to roll up to Kami Piccolo's home planet. We're going to Namek. And that leads us straight into the Namek Saga, which we may cover in the future. And that is the Saiyan Saga.
Good synopsis, man. Well done, Bait. Well done.
Thank you.
But yeah, that was this arc was a very good start to Dragon Ball. I was actually kind of surprised rereading it back of how well it holds up.
Well, yeah, the art's great. We'll get into the review right now. Our review system is based off of a 5-point metric. We review 500 points out of 5 stars, and we review the visuals, the writing and dialogue, the characters, the X factor, what makes it unique, and hype moments and aura. So we'll start by reviewing the visuals. Right, and this is specifically for the manga people, right? Not the anime. And the anime is really great, but I'm talking about the manga. Visually, how are you feeling?
Manga wise, it's great. Oh yeah, yeah. Manga wise, the visuals is great. We have iconic character designs that have remained
still stood the test of time for sure.
Yeah, like Goku's and Vegeta's. Even outside of them, Piccolo and Tenshinhan. Granted, these are character designs most of these character designs were in original Dragon Ball, but just commenting on how they looked in Z, they all stand the test of time for sure. And Toriyama has this very cartoon-esque vibe to it. Where I think it works with the world that it works with the world that he's created, because in this world, there's humans, but there's also humans and aliens. There's aliens. There's talking pigs.
The president's a dog.
The president's a dog, exactly. Even their vehicles are different than ours. They're kind of like hovercrafts. It's the spaceships that the Saiyans come down in. This doesn't look like a traditional spaceship. They're more pod like. Everything about it, it's just such a a unique feel to it that you don't really catch in other series. And even amongst that, there's even amongst just this arc, there's also a lot of good shots and panels that when you think of Dragon Ball, you probably think of these shots and panels, like when Goku and Vegeta go to the mountains. And
Oh yeah, and they square up.
Yeah, bro, that shot
Yeah, that shot.
Yo, let me add a little bit more glaze to that. Like you can see the wind.
Toriyama was cooking. Toriyama was cooking when he was like, yeah, they're gonna roll up here, man.
The streets ain't ready for this one. But yeah, like I really like how this especially this arc looks. I gave it a 4.5, and it's not a 5 because like I feel like that's saved manga wise. That's kind of saved for me. Like with manga, that kind of goes a bit above and beyond. But the 0.5, everything was going to be like a 4, but like the 0.5 more I added was because of how iconic a lot of this world looks and
yeah.
And the cartoonist vibe of it and how well it works together. But yeah,
I'll say if we ever review Vagabond, I don't know if a 5 is enough.
Yeah. Like,
I might have to throw an extra point or something because when we're talking manga, like when I think of like perfect score for manga art, the Vagabond would always be like which is unfair. It's unfair.
Hey,
but
to be
it's the truth.
Hey, 5 is
put a lot of work into it though.
Yeah. 5 is for me is like reserved for things that not only meet the expectation, not only is like good, but it also like goes beyond. Like One Punch Man's art for me, it would be a 5.
For me, the visuals, I would say I would agree 4.5 for sure. It's a manga very clean looking, right? That's what I would specify. It's all the character designs are they stand out very well, very clean. The panels are very clean. They're visually interesting, but they're not busy. Okay, the lines on the character, like the lines and stuff, are very like distinct and clean. I think over time we have different styles. I think like I would say something like Jujutsu Kaisen. A lot of times it feels a little more like sketchy. There's a lot more stuff going on. Or like Chainsaw Man or different modern day manga. But this is a very, very clean looking thing. And like, as you said before, the character designs are very distinct. And the way powers are used, I think specifically whenever they're like gathering chi, and you get that kind of like that swirl design, right, around a character and that kind of like aura they're emanating. I think it's very interesting. And I would say it does a very good job with that overall. And like, it's like, folks, it's Dragon Ball, and there's really not much. Like, it's such a distinct design, it stands out from its peers. It stands out from its, I guess its descendants. Nothing really looks like it. And you can tell an Akira Toriyama design when you see it. And, this is like no different. He was an incredible character and like world designer. So 4.5 for me.
All right, let's talk about the art. So, I feel like when a design, I agree with a lot of your sentiments. But for myself personally, I feel like when art style has no real weaknesses, that's when I feel like it deserves a really high score, like a 5. I understand that in the future, again, in future dates, there were definitely art styles that definitely exceeded what we got with Dragon Ball, with some of the more up-to-date manga styles and really detailed and a lot of things that had a lot of context to them. But I think not only was Toriyama's art style for Dragon Ball an elevation, because I think of some of his older work like Dr. Slump, and I look at what was crafted here, and I'll share my own context. I read the full color version of the Saiyan arc, and like, I mean, the full color version was it was so clean, man. Like, I mean, I don't know if y'all can like. It's just like, come on, bro. Like,
that's all.
I mean, like the designs are really well thought out. They're real intricate, and when you add the color to just add to the context of it, you can tell that Toriyama took a lot of time to think about each tiny detail to match with its iconic style, but to elevate it, right? Because now these characters are not small children. Now these characters are adults. A lot of the characters that we had kind of watched and read through the original Dragon Ball series are grown up now. And Dragon Ball is so iconic. You see elements of a character and you immediately recognize this is Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
For myself personally, I think because of how iconic it is and how pristine it is, I have to rate the art a 5.
I got no problem with that. I have no problem with that.
Yeah, the art is nice. Specifically for me, I'm mostly divvy between comic and manga. So there's like a whole different like aspect when it comes to just how the art like is finally laid out. I know like it's a struggle just to even finish just one chapter of a manga because the scheduling that they put on to these manga artists and writers, it's too much. And we might not get the final results even after like a volume is coming out, like the first volume or the second volume and all that. And like the difference between like in comic books, there is like deadlines and a lot of like pushback on stuff, and we might not get like the full art style that an artist can do. So there's always a differentiation between each one, and we might not always going to get the good full picture. I think like for this one, it's super simple and super plain that it actually works. That the action works so much that by the time it gets to an impactful scene where any like either Vegeta or any of the other Saiyans use their powers, it's even if it's like for one small little panel, it works. It pops up well. But for me, I'm very usually much for the huge splash pages and all the big art styles that it's detailed to the max. I'm a little differentiate. I'm a little here and there for there. Well, I think it's just comfortable, really good art that does its best. So not a lot of complaints, but I would give it just like probably just a 4.5 because it's simple, but it's also really good. It's still good. There's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah. Before we move on from is it 4.5?
It's at 4.5 as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Before we move on from visuals, I do want to highlight one more aspect of the visuals. I will say the fights. The clarity of the fights, because Dragon Ball starts off some kind of like a adventure / martial arts manga, and then Dragon Ball Z is definitely martial arts, right? But even as crazy as Dragon Ball Z goes, I don't think it ever really loses the martial arts part of it. And when the characters are trading kicks and blows, they're doing feints and like parries and stuff. It is very clear visually, even in manga form. Right. I think it does a very good job of showing like the fight momentum. You can really see, okay, who has the upper hand in this fight, who's doing what. Even a character who may be weaker can pull out something like interesting and whatnot. I think that kind of variety and that kind of like thinking really makes Dragon Ball like such a like interesting like thing to read. And I would say maybe even like new gen stuff. So not all of it has like the great fight choreography of like Dragon Ball. I mean, some does. I was like Jujutsu Kaisen, for example, has very good fight choreography in its manga. But like even like some of the big manga. I love One Piece, right? Love everyone was One Piece does not have this fight choreography. Very, very, very rarely, man. They are not trading punches and kicks and blows like they are in Dragon Ball. And I think that's what makes it like so like distinct and special. And like that feeling you have when a character tries to like hit and I've experienced Saiyan Saga before watching it, but even reading it, when like a character like throws like a beam or like a blast or something like Vegeta or Nappa and they dodge at the last second and you're like, oh, because you wanted to hit, man. You wanted it to hit, and you like. I feel like that kind of investment. That's what the visuals sell. And despite me knowing the story, you still get kind of like kind of swept up in it. I think the art really carries that.
Yeah,
I would agree with that 1000%. The way that they build it, I don't know. You may know by my name. I'm a big fan of samurai films. The way they sell these moments is tantamount to like old school samurai films where there's like the moment of pause, is anticipation that's built, and they're in like their I'm about to strike you form. They do a lot of that in Dragon Ball Z. Like a ton of that. A lot of fights have these moments of anticipation, big payoffs. I couldn't agree more that the moments of calm, even like the sight of like wind and like leaves flowing and like facial expressions and body language, and like we see beautiful art style with like you mentioned a lot of martial arts very early in the series. I think I echo Bait's sentiments in relation to the fights having a big element of clarity to the combat. I think that's hard to do for manga because it's not animated. We're just seeing these in freeze frames. But Toriyama did an amazing job of literally building what you would feel in an anime usually for a manga. Like it's so smoothly done.
Yeah, and like his, even though like you said, even though it's like still frames because it's a manga, it still feels pretty like animated in its form, just with how he's using like just simple techniques. Like for instance, when they were about to do their clash with Vegeta's Gallic Gun versus Goku's Kamehameha and he's shooting it up. There's like what I really like about that shot is that there's a sound effect that he writes in. I think it's like Doom, right? But the blast is cutting through, like going in between two of the letters.
I remember that scene. I was
that's
so
cold.
Yeah.
That's cold.
That's cool. And I gotta say, you have to remember, right? With Dragon Ball, I think a lot of these tropes are like tropes now, but like Toriyama was making them, and I think we'll dive a little deeper into that to X Factor, but like these are first times that these things are happening. But we'll move on to our next category as we talk about writing and dialogue. I believe. What do we? I would say for writing, for me, I think it's a pretty well written arc overall.
Yeah, I like the whole nature versus nurture thing. That this arc I think really tries to hammer in. Where it's like the Saiyans come in and they're just the big bullies on the block. They're strong. They've always been strong, and they bully the weak, kill off the weak even. But this whole, just how they're written to be just like insurmountable wall that everyone on Earth has to like fight, or all the good fighters on all our Z fighters on Earth have to like get past. It's written very well. Like every time they're on like, granted, Dragon Ball scaling gets like crazy, much crazier down this line. But at this moment, these guys are like the strongest things that we've ever seen in this series. And it's even Raditz, who's such like a forethought now, even Raditz was like such like a wall for like that Piccolo that Goku had to like die to like take him down. And not only did he die to take it down, he's also like, oh yeah, two other guys who are stronger than me, who are way stronger than me, are coming. And then Nappa and Vegeta touchdown. And Nappa's like, oh yeah, you think I'm tough? look at Vegeta. And it's just like, it's like you're fighting an Elden Ring boss and you've spent all your time all your time trying to take it down just for the Elden Ring boss to be like, oh well, the second phase though, are you prepared for that?
Yeah.
And then the second phase comes, you're like, okay, well, surely that's it. And they're like, oh, well, what about that third guy? What do you mean a third?
Yeah. It's like one of those bosses where like the second guy shows up. Like there's like a second guy sitting in the room and he just gets up out of the chair. Well, I would say I would even compare it to Dark Souls. I would say if you've ever played Dark Souls, like the orange scene in Smog fight. Where like orange scene's like this little guy, like he's a little guy, has a spear, lightning, very fast, very powerful. and Smoke is just like this huge, like kind of lumbering guy with a hammer. And if one of them goes down, the other one absorbs the other's powers. The other one, one goes down, the other one will just kill the other one and absorb his powers. And then you're dealing with like the souped up version of one of those guys running around, and that is very much like how it feels.
Yeah. But yeah, that's just how Toriyama portrayed this Saiyan. That kind of just shows how good Toriyama portrayed the Saiyan threat in this arc. So plot wise, and how everything like turned from like former enemies and allies coming to banding together to take on this threat. All that is great. So I personally give the writing and dialogue a 4.5.
For me, it's a 4, and that is because I don't think we've seen his best writing yet. Right? I would say Dragon Ball Z doesn't have a lot of depth. I'm not saying it doesn't have depth. It does have depth, but it's not a lot of depth. Right? It doesn't have to. Not everything has to. And there's something, I don't think there's anything wrong or something that like is like terrible to plot or whatever. But it is simple. I think I like you brought up, it is nature versus nurture, right? And there's definitely elements there, especially with Vegeta and whatnot. But I would say all the really good Vegeta stuff hasn't happened yet, right? I think there is a lot of stuff there. I think specifically the best.
All the really good?
Most of it. I would say yeah. I would say most of it, like all the good character development for Vegeta is in
character
the Frieza
development. Okay.
Character development. I'm saying Vegeta's a good character, right? He's a good character right now, but he's a great character. And like I would say, Namek Saga on, he becomes like he develops so much. Piccolo's great in this though, and Piccolo's character development from bad guy to like unlikely ally to friend and like mentor to Gohan, and you can really see Gohan change him. And he's like, you know what, I mess with this kid, right? At the point he's willing to sacrifice himself, and like there are some good elements, and it's not like, and each character reacts differently, right? And we'll get into characters, I think, in the next bit, but like, I think character wise, it's written very well. Plot wise, it's good, but it's not his best work, right? I think it comes later, and I think that's why I'm giving it like a 4.
Do agree with you about when you say Dragon Ball isn't really known to have like such like typical depth plot. I do actually agree with that sentiment. Just looking over Dragon Ball as a whole. However, I will say, if I could have a little pushback, I feel like this arc definitely has that depth. Because
this arc is crazy.
This arc is probably the most like the Z fighters feel like actual like characters and not like
that's true. That is Z fighters a good side. Except Krillin. I mean, Krillin's the one who always sticks around, but I think a lot of the Z fighters do get a little sidelined like after. But I would say that that's just my take. That's just my take on it. I will say it is crazy, as I brought up earlier, that Toriyama dropped 2 ground-shattering retcons in this arc. Just like, oh yeah, by the way, Goku and Piccolo are aliens. Right? And it was established, if even though you might say, well, it wasn't clear Piccolo's an alien, he's a green guy. Well, Piccolo was supposed to be the Demon King, right? His origin was magical in nature, right? He was like a split up from Kami, who was like the Lord, kind of God figure, like, of the of Earth, like a guardian. Kami was a guardian of Earth who made the Dragon Balls, and his evil side was Piccolo, right? And that was it. And then we find out, actually, he's from space. He's from space. He's from a planet called Namek. And, that's where he got the Dragon Ball stuff. Also, Goku is also from space. He was a little alien baby. None of this was brought up before. But despite those being insane retcons, they work so well. Yeah. They really shouldn't. I think in any other case, right, if you're reading a comic book, right, if you're reading Spider-Man and you get hit with the retcon that's like, actually, Spider-Man's an alien from space. Uncle Ben and Aunt May found him in a pod. You like it would not work. I don't think Mary writer can make that work. But somehow, Toriyama seamlessly, did this. People have compared him with Superman. I would say Goku doesn't really get a Superman-esque characterization until later. There's believe it or not, this is not the last retcon you will see to Goku's backstory.
I almost would say Goku never receives a Superman characterization because Goku's sense of justice and Superman's sense of justice
very different.
are two completely different things, bro. They're dramatically different.
I would say later on, especially recently, I don't know if you remember Godzilla. No, sorry, not Godzilla. Dragon Ball Minus. And the later adaptations that you see, I think in the Broly movie, when you get more Bardock stuff, I think they make him a lot more Superman. They make him a lot more like Bardock and his wife putting the hands on the pod as they send him off to Earth, kind of thing. I think they make him a lot more like that than he initially was. Yeah, because it used to be like he just got there. Well, I think originally in this it was like they sent him there to take over Earth, but then you get another retcon later on that I don't think Bardock did that. Bardock just sent him off because Bardock knew bad stuff was coming down the pipeline to Saiyans, right? Yeah, and then they changed it again to a more noble, kind of a thing. Some edges do get sanded off of these characters.
Yes, if we view future writings, future
writing. I'm not counting future writing into this, but I'm just saying it is.
Yeah, I understand.
But yeah, it's a 4 for me. What are you feeling, Gray?
I'll be honest, man. I'll be honest. I gotta rate it a little higher than you. In line with what Supa O mentioned, I love the writing in Saiyan arc. Oh my god, it's so good. There's these moments where, so in OG Dragon Ball, they hide a lot from Goku, right? They don't tell him that they cut his tail. They don't talk about, they don't talk about like why they cut his tail, right? Why does he not need his tail anymore, right?
What happened to his grandpa?
What happened to his grandpa? Like, an ape killed your grandpa. Like, they hide a lot from Goku because they don't want to put him through emotional pain, right? Or whatever. The moment Raditz shows up, full grown, way taller than any of the people. It was such a clean scene. The moment Raditz appears, he is like twice as tall as everyone else at the commie house. He's like looking down at him. He's like, oh, that's my brother. And I know you're my brother because he looks like our dad. He looks just like our dad. I know you're my brother. So I need you to explain to me why you didn't wipe out this planet. That's what you were saying here to do. What happened? Must be brain damage. And he's like, well, actually, I have a scar on my head, I'm just like, there's these things that happened in Dragon Ball that felt like afterthoughts. Goku has a change to his personality. He's loving and he's docile and he's a happy-go-lucky kid versus a wild animal. Oh, well, I guess it doesn't matter. And then in Dragon Ball Z, oh, wait a minute, it does matter. Because the people that are the same race as this creature actually just so happen to be really, really, really strong, right? And Raditz, apparently, as a baby, explains that all Saiyans are sent to, when they're small babies and children, sent to weaker planets, they exterminate the planet, and then they leave somehow and get sent to slightly stronger planets. And that's the plan, right?
I don't think Raditz is a reliable narrator. I think Rat's just talking, man. He's saying, you know, he's saying like oh, your Saiyans do that when there's like 4 of them done. What does he know? What does he know about Saiyan culture?
Raditz is a full-grown Saiyan, though.
Yeah, you know, I know.
He's been in the trenches, so to speak, right?
Yeah.
Now his planet got wiped out, so he's just like, you know, things turn sour. But like realistically, he understands what their job is, right? He knows what their job is. So for him, he shows up. He's like, we got a job to do. Like, well, are you still hanging out with these people? These aren't your people. I think the writing, the concepts, the build up to Gohan being an important character that's been domesticated too heavily by his mother. I want to talk about Gohan for a moment in this. I want to talk about Gohan's growth in the story.
Save it for the character. Save it for the character.
Okay. I will. But I will say that the writing aids the character development. I will say that the writing throughout the story of like, oh man, this small child is way too strong. Even for a Saiyan child, something is wrong with my scouter, possibly. Because like, what? Like, Raditz is freaked out. Raditz almost had a Vegeta moment. You know what I mean? Like, that thing must be broken. Like, what's happening right now? And we get characterization from Piccolo saying, I'm gonna raise this child, but I'm gonna make them the after image of me, and they're gonna be like 2 evil overlords on Earth. Mwah ha ha ha. And he develops so much more emotional maturity.
Well, the issue is Piccolo. Piccolo is they call him the Demon King, but Piccolo's a fake demon. For real. He's not really about that. He's not about like his dad was, you know.
He's different.
He's not about that.
He's not about that. He was about that in Dragon Ball, but things changed in Dragon Ball Z. Things changed in Dragon Ball Z. Gohan softened his heart, as he said. I just loved it, man. Like I thought that the writing and the characters worked collaboratively in such a way where we felt genuine fear for the main character. Goku, up to this point, didn't have many opponents that were really giving him a run for his money. And his brother gave him that run for his money where he had to die to win. Which is crazy.
Yeah.
And then he found out that even stronger opponents coming down the pipeline.
Yeah.
And he beats one of them, but he's then faced with an even stronger opponent that he cannot beat by himself. He needs mad other heads to help him to even barely make it out of it alive, right? I think the writing did such an amazing job of making you as a viewer feel like the main character is not invincible.
Yeah.
Right? The main character has things in his life that he cares a lot about, that he wants to protect. More than just his family, he cares about the planet, right? He cares about his friends. Even if his friends hide things from him, right? Or they're not fully honest with him, it doesn't change how much he loves them, how much he cares for them, right? How much he's willing to sacrifice for them, right? He's willing to put his own life on the line to protect the planet. And then when his son isn't willing to put his life on the line, he calls his son a coward. And I'm like, bro, that was crazy writing. He's like, what did Piccolo even teach you? You coward?
That is great. But you know, you gotta say, from Goku's perspective, you know, when he was Gohan's age, he was dropping bodies.
He was,
you know,
though. That's facts.
He was in the trenches. You know,
he was fighting an army with a little red rod, bro. Like, Goku was really like that when he was a child. So he has that perspective. And I think this is when I talk about the writing and the dialogue. You have a Goku who doesn't really have a close personal relationship with his son because of how much his mother shielded Gohan from Goku, right? She's like, you do that fighting thing over there, and I'm going to teach my son something different. And the writing built, then we'll talk about this when we get to the characters. I'm going to save it like was recommended by Bait. But we get a storyline that grows the characters, right? It grows interpersonal relationships. There's a moment where Goku is visibly frustrated with the interaction that he's seeing between his wife and his child. And when Gohan stands up for what he believes in, it drives the story forward. These are really thoughtful writing moments by Toriyama of family relationships, of chosen family, of rivalries, of friends hiding things from friends, of friends standing up for people that they care about. Just like really well thought out. It's a single arc, but so much happens. I can't help but rate the writing and the dialogue for this a 4.5. And the reason I cannot give it a 5 personally is because I have read stories in manga that have been mind blowing. And some of those stories are what I give like a 5 rating to, like an Attack on Titan storyline. I think this is eerily close to that, though. This is almost at the level of legendary writing. And I think when I look at Dragon Ball Z in a full scope, I don't think there are many arcs within Dragon Ball Z that come close to what was crafted in the Saiyan arc. This sets an incredible basis for what ends up becoming one of the most legendary anime of all time. I think it's worth incredible note of what was crafted in this arc. And that's why I give it my 4.5.
Oh yeah,
I will say, I think Frieza Namek Saga clears. I'm afraid. I think
Frieza Namek Saga clears.
I
can't say it, bro. I can't say it, bro.
The Vegeta character development, the Super Saiyan, I'm just saying.
I think the Ginyu Force was cool. I think the Ginyu Force was cool.
Force is great.
But I can't say that the Ginyu Force gave me more fear than Nappa and Vegeta gave me.
Yeah.
I can't say they gave me more fear because the Riders was like, listen, you thought I was strong. You had to die to drop me. There's 2 people way stronger than me showing up. And they're going to cook y'all. And then the king of the worlds trained Goku personally. And then Goku shows up and he handles one enemy, but he's not enough. Even using Kagoken 3 times.
I hear you.
Bro, this
does go hard.
This arc is crazy, bro.
This does go hard. It does a lot.
Iconic arc, bro.
For me, it's not with Frieza. It's gotta be not with Frieza Saga. Okay, Frieza's too goaded. Frieza's too cold. Frieza's too cold. Okay, I love him.
To you, Frieza is colder than Vegeta.
I would say so. It's a different kind of thing. There's 2 different kind of things. I think the way Frieza approaches things, right, and they're kind of similar, right? I mean, Vegeta's one more pride to him, but the way Frieza kind of approaches things and how Frieza kind of dominates the field, and he is crazily insurmountable because he's really, he's kind of playing with the cast for a while. Right, and even when Goku does thinks he got him, he does not have. It's not until he goes Super Saiyan. Then when he goes Super Saiyan, it becomes a very different thing. I would say.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. It's not the same kind of like as tight of a battle, but the build up to that Super Saiyan moment is. But like I said, we'll have to
cover that. We'll cover it in the next.
Eventually, we will.
We'll cover it. We'll cover it. Yeah.
Everyone knows that the best saga in Dragon Ball Z is the Boo Saga.
Yeah, all right. Get this guy out of here. Get this hothead out of here. Boo Saga.
I'm not gonna hate on Boo Saga. There's a lot
I don't hate Boo Saga. But there's a lot of like wasted potential in Boo Saga. I would say. Boo Saga kind of meanders.
We'll talk about it when we get to it.
We'll talk about it. But this pod's going long. So Beto, first time reading it. You've been waiting for your moment.
We gotta give Beto a space and talk about the dialogue.
Your first time reading Dragon Ball. What do you think about writing a dialogue? You are the most unbiased.
I was reading this as like just this as its own thing rather than knowing about the previous Dragon Ball first series. I do agree it's a little bit simple, and it gets to the point. It's really good. It's a really good writing. It really gets to the point. The writing, the characters, all the characters, everybody has their own voice, which is pretty good. But I still think of it as just like an action shonen manga that I probably read. Like I've read some of them, but this one it does have charm. It's entertaining, and I give it a 4. Just to wrap things, just to don't go on too much, but yeah, just as a 4, it's pretty good.
I would say, and also I think about what works for Dragon Ball's favor is the world is simple. Like the entire world, it's not. They do not live in our world. It's Earth. It's not our Earth, right? There's not like there's wide expanses with like nothing going on. Like most of the guys, they live in like a tiny little house on an island, right? It's not. I think that's an intentional choice because it is a more fantastical world, and you don't have to think about like the complexities.
Yeah, there's not like it's not like Lord of the Rings. It's not Lord of the Rings or like Dune or Star Wars kind of thing.
No, it's not trying to be, and I think that makes it work. All right, so we'll move on to our next category: characters. Right, I think for me, whereas I was kind of holding back on the writing, characters are like a 5 for me. I think the characters are excellent. All the Z fighters are great. Goku is great. Very very well characterized as he's kind of in it for the fight. But he still is like wants to protect his friends, and the characterization from Vegeta and Nappa, especially as villains, they feel like real threats. As Gray mentioned before to the cast, they're not playing around. They will kill you, right?
Yes.
And they really work to up the stakes. And there's a myriad of side characters, all coming from the original Dragon Ball series, that all add, I think, to different moments. I mean, from Kami to even like Popo to the cat guy to King Kai, even the fun little bits of how Dragon Ball works. With like Enma, King Yama, judging people and sending people to like hell or heaven. I think works, very well. And even like Bulma, right, coming in clutch in different points of time to like do technology and make things work. There's definitely some thought there, and I think all the characters are used very well, and especially Piccolo and Gohan, right? Really great character development, and it's realistic, right? I think one of the best character moments is it's frustrating, but when Gohan like freezes up on the battlefield and can't like perform. And that's a frustrating moment for you, the reader. At the same time, the kid's like 5. They really do got a 5-year-old out here, trying to fight grown men. And, for a moment, he's like, with it. And that makes sense.
Gohan, lock in.
Yeah. They're like, Gohan, you got to lock in. You got to fight. And, but you feel bad for him, but you understand, right? Everyone's like, we did bring a 5-year-old out here to fight. But yeah, I would say the characters are excellent. They're perfect. So yeah, it's a 5 for me.
Yeah, I agree. It's also a 5 for me as well. For a lot of the similar reasons you pointed out with the character development, especially with Piccolo's development. I think his scene where he sacrifices himself for Gohan, who before this point was just his ops kid, but he created such a bond with him that he actually developed like a genuine love for him to the point where he took a death blow for him. Yeah, Piccolo's stuff, the Piccolo's arc in this series, in this Piccolo's arc in this arc is really well done. And the Saiyans are just such a great antagonist. I know Gray's probably going to get more deeper into why why they're top tier, but no, I really love how we mentioned it before when writing in the writing dialogue. So I won't go too much on this, but like I just love how they're just 3 strong guys who just progressively are just stronger, and like each one is just like is putting our heroes on literally at the brink of what they could do, pushing them to their limit, and even to the point they're an insurmountable wall for them. Like it's like if I don't know if this happens. So don't spoil. Please don't spoil in the comments. But this would be like if like right after the fight with like Conquest and Invincible, like Thrag shows up. Like what? Like what? Like, I don't want to do this, bro.
It'd be like if the fight was Conquest and Thrag showed up. If they beat Conquest, and Thrag's like, all right, time for me to step in.
Just like, bro, what are we doing? Go home. But yeah, no, the character, them as like antagonists are like so top tier. Vegeta's such a great character. And I'm not gonna get into his character development because that comes like much later down the line in the series. But for the Saiyan Saga, he's such a good villain. He's a really good villain because he's just arrogant because he's been this top dog, or at least the top dog of the Saiyans, for like for all his life, and it literally just doesn't like occur to him that he could be defeated by like anyone other than like the real top dogs. But like this Earth. But like with this on Earth, there shouldn't be anyone that's even close to his level. So to him, it should be just like squashing some ants. But then here Goku comes along after like training all this time, and it's actually putting him in his place, and it's actually making him realize, oh, maybe I'm not like that. I'm the Prince of all Saiyans. I'm not like that.
I'm really not like that. He's elite. Like he brings it up. He's elite, and like Kakarot is a low-born Saiyan, right? Yeah. His parents were not. Bardock is not special, like in the in the hierarchy of Saiyans, right?
Yeah,
and he's elite. He has had elite training. He knows all the secret Saiyan techniques, and yet Goku is putting the paws on him.
Yes.
And that he is. I do like that he becomes kind of like a big baby and a sore loser about it. I think that's really good character.
You could definitely see him be more dramatic as the fight goes on. And even to the point where when he pulls out when he creates the moon to become his grade 8 form, you can kind of like see that okay, now he can't get through. How is he still keeping up with me?
Yeah.
It's
I like his kind of pettiness and his tenacity.
Yeah,
he's a very tenacious villain. He does not give he does not give up as much as the heroes don't give up.
Yeah,
which is like not really a common trait for villains, but he is like, what, as long as I can move, I'm gonna keep going. And I'm gonna take y'all out, because it's not a matter of just like, oh, my survival. I mean, at some point when he's like fully out, he's like, I have to get out of here. But it's like it's pride, right?
Yeah.
It's literally it's pride. It's like, oh, I know I have to keep going and I have to kill you because it would offend me as a Saiyan to have you walk out of here, alive and fine.
Yeah. And
I think that makes him a very, I would say, compelling character.
Yeah. And just to wrap it all up, the Z Fighters are also, like I mentioned before, the Z Fighters are probably the most endearing they've ever been in this arc. Like, they do get, I think a couple of them, like Tien Shan Han against Cell, I think is also probably the next, in my opinion, the next best moment of the Z Fighters. Here they actually have some shine. Like, everyone's actually doing their thing. They all have their moments. And yeah, it might not be might not have put a scratch on his hands, but they showed out. They show what they can do.
I will say
they fight with their heart out.
I will say they don't use all their elite techniques. They don't pull their full arsenal from the Dragon Ball side. Tien's not cloning himself and sprouting extra arms.
Yeah.
Yamcha's not doing Wolf Fang Fist. But other than that, no, they're all great.
Yeah. My only gripe with the characters is Raditz. I wish he wasn't Goku's brother. If he was just another Saiyan, I wouldn't care that much. But the fact that he's Goku's brother, and after this, and this is more of a gripe in Dragon Ball in general, I hate the fact that they never bring him back.
No one cares. They know this is your first time reading it, and you might say, "Oh wow, Goku's brother, right? Who's the villain in the first part, and does all this stuff." Well, I mean, assuredly he will return and he'll be relevant. He is not.
Yeah,
This is the last time you see him.
last time you
No
ever
one
seen him.
cares. Goku does not care. Vegeta does not care. No one cares. Right?
Just an afterthought. I had an idea.
Which is insane.
Yeah, it just
The main character's brother. No one cares.
Just outing, forgotten, not even circle chained. It's
Imagine I created a character, a popular main character, and added their own sibling, and never caring about them to develop their anything, nothing. Just put them in the back burner for the rest of the whole entire series.
Wait a second. You know this feeling, Beto.
I have.
You've experienced this.
I have.
You're a Spider-Man fan.
Yeah. There's a sister right there next to Peter Parker. That
did you know Peter Parker has a sister?
He has a sister.
Yes.
Congratulations.
Peter Parker has a sister who's like a spy or like a military thing or whatever, called Teresa Parker.
Does he know about her?
This is factual.
This is canon. This is canon.
This is canon. 100% canon. Yes, he does have like a spy, secret super spy sister.
Does he know that he has a sister?
He finds out.
Yeah,
yeah.
This is that he has a sister. Cool.
Yeah. It's like a retcon that happened in like the 2000s. They barely talk about her.
Yeah, if he's a spy, it'd be weird if they talked too much about her.
But yeah, it's just like it's one of those things that just came and went. I'm like, oh yeah, remember?
Here's an interesting idea.
Teresa Parker.
Anyways, never mind.
Yeah, anyway, that's how rad.
I feel like, R.I.P. Toriyama, but I feel like if he didn't die and we still got Dragon Ball projects, I'm betting that he would have been in like a move in a later like movie or a special or something, and brought back somehow. That's how.
Wait. He was in a movie. He was in a movie.
Which one?
He was in Burley for like 10 seconds.
Oh yeah,
that's not enough.
That's 10 seconds too high.
I guess.
If he was there for 60 seconds.
Solid fluff, but it's not enough.
But yeah, I give it a 5.
It's 5. I would say we'll take Beto's rating after this, but it is wild, right? Looking long term, that Vegeta somehow becomes like a ally and trusted friend after the Saiyan Saga. Okay. They got this man at their barbecues. In a few short years, he's at the cookout. He's on the grill, and that is crazy. That is positively insane. Like I know that they might have brought back everyone they know, but he did kill like a city. Well, I guess Nappa did, but they killed like a city of people. But Vegeta did spend a lot of his life as a completely awful person. He does have a good character. He does have really good character development, but it is crazy that he becomes one of Goku's closest friends from this point on. There's a certain point where there's something, and then they become best buds.
And not all friendship starts out with good intentions. It could just we can kill each other.
I'm not saying it's badly written.
No.
I just think it's crazy that it happened. When you start from here, it is crazy that we got from point A to point B.
Hey, remember how I was trying to reduce the Saiyan population? Good times.
He tried to blow up the planet.
Almost did it too.
He killed multiple of their friends. Well, he didn't kill, but his minion killed multiple of his friends, and then he tried to blow up the planet, and he tried to kill Gohan, try to kill a 5-year-old. Right?
Yeah.
There's a part where Gohan's transforming into a great ape, and he's stomping on his chest. He's trying to stop him from transforming. He's just stomping him on the chest.
It's no, stop looking.
And
and stop looking. Don't look.
And just in canon, in just a few short years, right? He's at the mixers.
Oh man,
he's hanging out. they got him. he's just around, and they're like, oh, well, that's Vegeta.
Didn't he try to commit like mass murder? Nah, he just don't know him like we do.
He's part of the familia now.
That's it, bro.
He's part of the family.
So, Beto, what is your character score?
Character score? Maybe I mixed this up with a. What did I say for writing?
I think a 4.5.
All right then. Yeah, then the characters. You know what? I'm just gonna keep it simple. Same way, 4.5. All these characters are amazing. Obviously, some of them are annoying to me personally. I was just like, why are they here? That girl character.
Bulma?
Bulma.
Okay.
Damn.
Not
Oh,
Chi-Chi.
wait, it might be. Wait.
Bulma?
Chi-Chi wasn't in it that much. She's the mom, right? Too.
She's in a little bit. Yeah. Bulma was irritating to you.
Wow, Bulma?
I'm a first time reader here, so I
He
don't
doesn't
know.
have context. He doesn't know.
And my only context
that's
is
fair.
this and the Dragon Ball Evolution that we watched. So my context is a little
You should
bad.
forget that.
Actually, no. I disagree. You should remember that and base all your findings off of that movie. It's actually one might even say it's a 1-to-1 adaptation of the series.
1-to-1 adaptation.
Absolutely. Honestly, the characters are great. Every single one of them is awesome. They have their all of them certain flair. They all have a great sentiment on being here, and they all so cool. They're also quirky. Also, their designs is amazing. You can obviously know who they are right off the bat, and it's pretty good characters that we get to enjoy for the ride.
Yeah. I'm saying so. I know this is speaking of the future, but isn't it crazy that like I guess 10 years or I forget how many years it is from like Z to Super, but Roshi just decides to lock in. And he just levels up to the power beyond this. The power levels in Dragon Ball are like silly, and the less you think about them, the better. But they'll fluctuate wildly. Okay, like all the characters you saw here, right? And you think about how much they struggled and all this stuff. Just know that they'll get wildly more powerful in the next arc, but by like an insane degree.
Yeah, the power levels are BS, as the kids say.
Yeah, you still think about them. Like I think that's the other thing I would say about like power scaling. And I am a filthy power scaler. I do like power scaling, but the fact that I think Dragon Ball fans use the numbers unironically. The power level numbers, unironically, when the entire point of them is that you can't really quantify someone's power via the numbers, and like there's multiple factors, and people can like up and go up and down or do techniques that like surpass their current power output, but you have some fans that are like, oh no, the data book says his power level was this, like just.
Keep that over there.
It is truly a matter of reading comprehension, But all right, Gray, you got the floor.
All right, man. Can I say enough about the characters in the Saiyan Saga? My goodness. All right, I'm just gonna pick on two people. I'm gonna keep it simple. I'm gonna talk about two people's development to illustrate why characters deserve a 5 here. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about first Goku. Okay, so Goku, he arrives at the Kami house with his son. It's the first time anyone has met Gohan. They're even shocked. They're shocked that he has a son, and the kid is 4 years old. They're like, "Wait, Goku, you had a kid?" And he's like, "Yeah, he's usually in the house with Chi-Chi, he's in the house with the missus, but he's out with me today. I got visitation. It's cool." And so you have a moment where he's enjoying his time with his kid and his friends are there and they're excited to see this little one and he's always got a tail. That's interesting, the tail situation. Anything weird happen sometimes on occasion? Since he had the tail, people were like, I don't know what are you talking about?
Yeah,
he's
he's in bed by 10.
Yeah.
That's what the problem is.
Pretty early. Like, I don't really think about it too much. Like, what about when it's a full moon? It's like, I don't really worry about it too much. We go to bed pretty early in our house, nothing too crazy. and then he feels this insane power level show up out of nowhere. And for Goku, it's a sensation of fear. He's like, oh, what is this? Who is showing up? And then Raditz shows up, right? Raditz, as Bait has already mentioned so beautifully in his summary, assumes his dominance, tries to get an explanation as to why his brother has become so docile, and then he kidnaps his own nephew and threatens to take his life to hold his brother hostage, right? And his thought process is, oh, my brother's a Saiyan. So, like, all he needs is a little motivation, and he'll kick into gear, and he'll just be his old self again. It's all good. He does not expect, literally, minutes after he leaves, to get chased by his brother and this guy that he just sunned a few moments ago, who was Piccolo, to just show up immediately ready for smoke, right? But there's this scene, and here's where I get so excited. I never noticed this before. I swear, I never noticed this. There's this scene, and this is the first major fight in Dragon Ball Z. This is worth noting. This is the first major fight in Dragon Ball Z. Goku and Piccolo versus Raditz, okay? And they're face-to-face with Raditz. They're talking about what's about to happen. And Piccolo asks Goku, does the prospect of fighting a stronger opponent excite you? And Goku responds to Piccolo and says, I'm not excited. I'm scared. I'm more terrified. Like, I am not excited to fight a stronger opponent. I am in fear because there's risk here. Things could go wrong. I am not confident in this situation. I'm actually afraid of fighting a stronger opponent. That is our first major fight featuring Goku against a strong opponent, right? And in that fight, Goku dies. What does Goku do after he dies? He trains. He gets stronger. He learns multiple new techniques. And then he's face to face with another strong opponent. What does he do with that strong opponent? He suns him 2 feet on top of Nappa's head, right? Like, Nappa goes to attack his son. He literally gut punches him and, like, flies around him. It's crazy. Holds him above his head like a sack of potatoes.
Yeah, bro. Yeah.
Just like insane, bro.
The disrespect is off the charts.
So we go from him fighting Raditz and being afraid of Raditz to him leveling up and fighting a Saiyan many times stronger than Raditz, right? Because we get this power level comparison. The Cybermen are equal to Raditz's strength, right? And so with Goku defeating Nappa so resolutely and then fighting Vegeta, we see, once again, for the first time since Raditz, Goku is fighting an opponent that is stronger than him. And here is where we get an interesting layer of character development from Goku. He is no longer terrified. He is excited. He is excited. And one could argue the risk here is much greater than it was in the Raditz fight, right? But Goku is looking forward to this fight. One thing that, if this is all that you've read of Dragon Ball Z so far, that you might not know, is that this characterization of Goku is kind of the direction that his emotions go in when it comes to challenging strong opponents. From this point forward, he is no longer scared of strong people. From this point forward, every fight that is going to possibly be too much for him, he's thrilled by, he's excited by, right? But this is the first time that we see it. This is the first time we see the shift from, oh no, to, for lack of a better phrase, shout out to the Kool-Aid man, oh yeah, all right.
I would say this.
Go.
Sometimes in the future, Goku will lose a fight. He'd be like, dang, I'm sad I lost, but that fade was...
Yeah,
that was a good fade. That was a good fade. I ain't even mad.
So like I see this, right? And you take it even a step further. Oh, here's where oh my gosh. Incredible foreshadowing. Goku almost dies in this fight against Vegeta, okay? And summarizes this beautifully. He's almost dead, right? Last leg. Vegeta is also almost dead. Krillin's got a little bit more juice left in him, and he has Yajirobe's sword. And Krillin wants to take out Vegeta because of all the horrible things that he's done. And then Krillin mentions, because Goku starts talking to him through telepathy, like, don't kill him. Relax. And he's like, listen, man, I know you trying to base how Piccolo changed as a basis for all your enemies becoming good guys, but that's not the real world. That's not how this works. The things that this person has done are way too vile. He'll never be your friend. You'll never hang out. You'll never go to barbecues. He's a sick and twisted individual. He has to go. And Goku responds to that by saying, but this person gave me such a thrilling fight. It was so much fun. And I know that I will eventually be so strong, I will get so strong that he can't beat me. And I vow it. I don't even have to worry about it. I will become stronger than him. And then he will no longer be a threat to me or to the planet. And Krillin's like, I don't know about that, buddy. That sounds like a crazy thing to say because it took 5 of us to drop him, kind of, sort of, and we barely dropped him. Like, he's still okay. He can still crawl to his pod. Like, this is a problem, bro. Like, it was me. It was your son. It was you. It was Yajirobe. It was your training from the King of Worlds. Like, this is crazy, bro. Like, there's no way we're easily going to be able to drop this guy. And Goku's like, nah, you don't understand, though. Like, I had a fun time. This was enjoyable for me. And I know I'll be strong enough to handle him in the future. So you let him go because I want a challenging opponent when I level up. We have to note that characterization is not heroic. It's not villainous. It's childlike.
Yeah.
But that's the beauty of Goku. Goku is, even as he ages, at heart, he's still a kid. And fights for him go transition through this one arc, this single arc, from something that he fears to something that excites him to something that he craves. We get to a point where challenge for him is no longer something that he shies from, but something that he's actively seeking, to the point that he will let someone go who almost destroyed his homeworld for the possibility of scrapping with them again. Incredible characterization from Goku. And as I mentioned earlier, there are moments later in Dragon Ball Z where he's willing to sacrifice a lot and willing to put a lot of things at risk for the thrill of a good fight. But we don't get to that version of Goku without this arc. This arc builds his origin story for what Goku becomes, which is childlike, kind of selfish in some ways, because all he wants is a good fight, and he's willing to do anything for a good fight. And I might even say in Super, it's even worse. In Super, we get to some pretty wild extremes for how much he wants a good fight and how much he's willing to sacrifice and risk for the possibility of a good fight. Like, he's risking universes in Super for a good fight. And I'm just like, all right, bro. Like, Super you went too far with it.
Yeah, Super definitely like flanderizes that aspect of Goku.
Yeah. Yeah, but when you look at the story, it makes sense because his obsession with strong fights just gets worse and worse and worse. And like I said, it's not heroic. Hero is like, I want to fight to protect. I want to fight to save. I want to fight because I care about. And at a certain point, Goku's just like, I don't care about that stuff, bro. I just want a good scrap. And you know what? That's cool because as a fan of the series, you watch it and you're like, he is true to himself. This is what he comes to enjoy. And as a viewer, he doesn't switch up. He continues to have that passion for combat, and it strengthens him and it makes him stronger and better and more adept. he gives into his Saiyan instincts, because that's what Saiyans are. They're lovers of combat. They're lovers of fighting. And even though he's a good Saiyan, kind of, he's still a Saiyan at heart. And I love that. Goku. All right, so we're going to talk about two characters. I'm going to try to keep it quick. I'm sorry. I love this arc so much. I get so into this.
That's cool.
Hey,
It's
man,
cool.
we haven't had you on the pod for a minute, Grace. So we'll let you cook. We'll let you cook.
We have to talk about Gohan.
Oh, really?
God. We have to. Gohan in the Saiyan arc has so many impactful moments to the story. And I want to highlight how he grows in such a short span of time during the story arc, right? So we get introduced to Gohan for the first time on chapter 1 of Dragon Ball Z, when he is brought to that Kami house by his father. And he's essentially kidnapped as a bargaining chip by his uncle, right? And he, early on, he's 4 years old, right? Think about a 4-year-old in your life. They're whiny, they're powerless, they're not gonna fight under their own volition. They're very small children, right? Raditz takes advantage of this. He puts him in his spaceship pod after kidnapping him, and he's holding him there. He's like, I'm gonna hold on to this kid, and then if Goku brings me to 100 heads, I'll let him go. If he doesn't, I'm offing him. Doesn't matter. I do not care about this kid. I barely know him. I know he's my nephew. He doesn't matter to me. It's done. And I'm dropping Goku too. And I'm dropping the whole planet. It don't matter. I just want a buddy I can do it with. That's all I want. I want to have it to be a family fun event. But if it can't be a family fun event, I'll just do it solo. All good, right? That's Raditz's mentality. There's a scene where Goku and Piccolo are showing up to fight him right almost immediately after the kidnapping. And he's using his scouter. He's like, I sense this power level. I sense this power level. And the power levels are in the 500s, right? They're strong. These are the strongest fighters, as Bait mentioned earlier, on Earth up to this point. But keep in mind, this is our first time meeting Gohan. And this is our first reading of Gohan's power level. He's stressed. He's in that pod and he's stressed. And that stressed lends itself to a power level that Raditz has never seen from a Saiyan child. It's over 700 for a baby, 4 years old. He's like, what the? This is a Saiyan child? I've never sensed a power level this high from a child ever. Like, what is happening right now? He does the scrap with, Gohan, Piccolo. Goku, Piccolo, they fighting, da. Middle of the fight, when they pretty much have lost, they've kind of lost the fight at this point. Raditz has clearly assumed his superiority. He's way stronger than these guys. Gohan bursts out of the pod and headbutts Raditz in the chest with so much power, he shattered his Saiyan armor, which then gives Raditz a moment of staggering. He's like, whoa, what in the world? Like, I thought my scouter was broken. He's actually strong for real. Which then gives Piccolo an opening and gives Goku an opening to take down Raditz. Gohan creates that opportunity, right? But he's a whiny, scared kid. He's nervous. He doesn't know what to do. Piccolo takes him for training. Training says, hey, you need to survive. For this set amount of time, live. And then if you survive, I'll train you. He survives. He makes it. And he grows an emotional bond to Gohan. He grows an emotional bond to Gohan. Piccolo and Gohan create a bond together because they're training together, they're learning together. This is a huge part of development from Gohan because Gohan's not a fighter. We first meet him, he says, I want to be a scholar. It's because of what his mom wants him to do, right? Up to this point, he had no personal identity. He said to himself, I just want to do whatever mom wants me to do. His father wasn't around. Yeah, what were you saying?
Only thing he ever hit was the books.
All he ever hit was the books.
True.
All he ever hit was the books. He's not a fighter. He's a child of a very strong human. It's worth noting that Chi-Chi is a very strong human and a Saiyan, a very strong-willed woman and a Saiyan. But she says, I don't want my child to be a fighter. I want him to be a scholar, right? So she drilled this in his mind. He said that to Piccolo. Piccolo's like, I don't care what you want to be. You ain't going to be a scholar of no planet, of a dead planet. Like, you're going to have to learn how to fight. Because if you don't learn how to fight, you'll have no planet you'll have no thing to learn, no books to learn, no nothing. Planet's donezo. So either you learn this, or it's destruction. Those are the only two options. You pick. He's like, all right, I guess I gotta learn how to fight. And he does. He does he doing do-si-dos around a dinosaur like crazy, right? Gohan levels up, but he's still a child. Saiyans show up. Gohan, as Ray mentioned, is still a child. He gets scared, right? Because he's fighting Piccolo. Piccolo is not trying to pull his punches. He's training him well. But at the same time, these Saiyans want to murder these people. They want to murder every single one of the Z fighters. And Gohan freezes up. However, Gohan has moments of shine. He has moments where he steps up. And those moments where he punches Nappa through a boulder, embeds his head in a boulder. Like, we're starting to see small moments of like, oh shoot, like this very timid child who wanted to be a scholar before is actually starting to show a little bit of strength. Fast forward to the fight between Goku and Vegeta when Gohan and Krillin leave because they're like, we're going to get in Goku's way because Goku's mad. Goku's not fresh. He's angry. He's quiet and wrathful because of what's happened, right? So they're like, all right, we gotta isolate, do our thing. Han realizes that something's wrong, and he makes Krillin go back to his father to help him out. That's the only reason, to be candid, that's the only reason Vegeta didn't just wipe the floor with Goku. Because Gohan and Krillin return, which allows Goku to pass the technique to Krillin, which gave Gohan the ability to go toe-to-toe with Vegeta for a little bit. It wasn't a long, scrap, but he gave him some hands, which was cool. And then Gohan, after getting mollywopped a little bit by Vegeta, says, I'm scared. This is tough. This is hard. And Goku kind of says, yo, like, you tough, right? Like,
Lock in.
Lock in. Like, what we talking about? Like, what's going on for real? Piccolo trained you. I thought my strongest enemy trained you. Like, you should be able to handle this. It should be nothing for you. You're stronger than you think. And Gohan has these moments where he's so scared and he's so fearful. He's not even aware of his own strengths. And then he makes that clutch volleyball play where he ricochets that spirit bomb right at Vegeta, which deals him in course of this fight his heaviest blow. Right? I think it's worth noting that progression of Gohan's story arc as well, right? Because what ends up happening is they're banged up. They're very severely injured. And now we're seeing the first interaction between Gohan and his mother in this whole arc. We have never seen Gohan and his mother in the same place. We see his mother's influence on him. We see how scared he is of her and how much he's willing to just do whatever she wants. Even how scared the other characters were of Chi-Chi, right? But we didn't see them have a face-to-face interaction. When Chi-Chi sees Gohan and Goku, she literally jumps over Goku's beaten body and grabs Gohan. And it's like, oh, my son, like, Yajiro was like, aren't y'all married? Like, what is this actually? And she's like, well, I told him not to take him out the house. Like, I told him, like, that was some insane behavior. Like, she clearly feels like Goku should be strong enough to handle all this stuff. She doesn't need my son, right? So when Gohan says, when they say, well, we got to go to Namek. Who's coming? Who's coming to Namek? Gohan says, I want to go to Namek. I want to save Piccolo. I owe so much to him. Chi-Chi starts flipping out. No, you're already behind the other kids. You're not going to be able to keep up. You're a child. You just do what your mother says. You follow my lead. You just do whatever I tell you to do. And Goku in this scene, and this is something I was highlighting earlier, is visibly frustrated. I think this is not only characterization, but also really good dialogue, right? Because Goku, I don't think he's seen a ton of interaction between his wife and his son. And he also hasn't had to have his son make a choice, right? Because now his son has to decide, will I follow the path of what my mother wants me to do or what I feel is the right thing to do? And he literally tells his mom to be quiet because she has no idea of the weight of what's really going on. And he has to do the right thing in this space. And I think as a character, we have never seen anyone have that heavy of a transition character-wise. But he's a child and he's growing up. So it was appropriate, but it was really interesting to see how much Gohan grew in that single arc, right? And it's not like enormous stretch of time. It's only like a year and a half, maybe, that the story takes place in. Within a year and a half, he gains the courage and the fortitude and the emotional resilience to stand up to a person that was in such control of his life. And I think those two things for me are just two small examples of how the character development that Toriyama built for each of these people in Dragon Ball Z is so well thought out. It's so intricate. It shows growth through experiences, and it makes sense. It makes sense. It drives the story forward. The dialogue fits the personalities. It fits the ages. It fits the thought processes. It was clearly very well thought out, and it continues, right? But I think when we look at this story, it's really important to know how these characters grow, what they develop into, and how it sets a tone for the rest of the story. That's why I have no choice but to rate the characters in Dragon Ball Z a perfect 5.
I cannot argue with that. That was a very good argument.
Very good dissertation.
Very good dissertation, you know.
It's only
All right, well,
the entire time.
yeah, we were just nodding along. You were just nodding along. You know.
Does he know that? All right. It looks like he's really getting into it. All right.
So we're gonna do our X Factor category, which is like, okay, what makes it unique, right? So we can move for this one pretty quickly. I feel, It's a 5. It's Dragon Ball Z, folks.
It's a 5 all around.
It's the first Dragon Ball Z arc. You do not get more unique than that. Like, I'm sorry, you from the way it does the aura to the beam clash to the pacing and everything. Like, it made the tropes. It invented them.
I agree.
On many levels, and it really redefined like the Shonen Jump magazine. That's why Dragon Ball was like the face of Shonen Jump for like so long. It is the worldwide phenomena for a reason, right? It has this like global market penetration like on this level, and it is because like the beginning is so good. It's not like, oh, well, other series that you would say, oh, well, Dragon Ball doesn't get good until like, this many chapters, right? Dragon Ball Z, yeah, you gotta get past like that saying, yeah, it's a little boring, but like once you get dynamic, nah, man, it's
early.
It's good from the jump. It is good from the jump.
Yeah.
From the Shonen Jump.
From the Shonen Jump.
I see what you're saying.
Oh man, we're going heavy in our dad bag right now.
Shout out to Dragon Ball Z for giving the template for Steven Universe.
That's great.
Big shout out. Yeah, 5 from me. I don't know. I think we're agreeing.
Yeah, no, it's a 5 for me too. I think the things that make Dragon Ball Z unique, that are very challenging to match with other levels of iconic moments, are all established in this single arc. I
would say there is one. There is one.
Mm-hmm.
Not gone to. That's Super Saiyan.
Yes, but
I would say that did change the game. But I would say everything else. Yeah.
I may say Super Saiyan feels like an evolution of Kaioken. Instead of it does because it's a power up, right?
It is a power up.
It's a power up, right? I think Kaioken set the stage for what would become Super Saiyan. Obviously, they were talking about there may be a legendary Super Saiyan. Maybe it's the child of a Saiyan and a human, right? Like when Vegeta and Nappa were going to Earth. But I think all of those things were teased to an extent in this arc. Obviously, the payoff comes in the Namek arc, but I think the premise, all the premises are set very well. Good martial arts, energy beams, cool abilities, cool costumes, awesome poses. That's what Dragon Ball Z is known for, right? That's the X factor. I have to give it a 5 too. I think they're all really established here. Yes, Super Saiyan doesn't appear yet, but it's teased here, and we see elements of what will become Super Saiyan in the future. Yeah, I agree 100%.
For me, I could see the 5. Honestly, I was kind of like between either 5 or 4.5, and that's only because if I were to judge Dragon Ball as a whole, it would be 5. But because it's only just one arc, I feel like, there are tropes that we just haven't like touched yet. Like Super Saiyan was one of them. I think the stuff they gave you for I feel like there's elements in Dragon Ball.
This isn't even my final form.
That was pretty good. Yeah, I liked Frieza in that arc.
There's even though this arc does a lot, I think it doesn't Goku. Dragon Ball Z as a whole is a very much a referenced piece of media, and you see elements of it throughout other series like Naruto and One Piece and all these other big shonen-esque series. And I don't think we got enough of that in Saiyan Saga, but we do get a lot. So I'm gonna say 4.5 for me personally.
I respect that.
Yeah, I see where you're coming from.
Yeah, I see it as I actually see this as a 5 because this is what every other mangaka has said. They that are shonen action series. They all allude to Akira Toriyama. They allude to Dragon Ball as their main inspiration. They feel really happy knowing that this is their inspiration. This is where they get their ideas from, and just whatever they created, they credit it to this. And for Dragon Ball Z to be the absolute foundation for all of these other mangas, it's amazing, and I give credit to what Toriyama has done. So give credit to him to creating this amazing piece of entertainment medium.
I mean, you gotta shout out a couple of specific concepts. I would say, your classic, they're moving too fast, or moving too fast for me to see, right? The teleporting behind, there's just a couple of things I think unique things that this arc pulls out that can use a lot. The way the fights are set up. I think even a couple of the special moves and techniques, the Kaioken, right, being something that's this will give me power, but it's going to damage my body.
Yeah.
Right. I think again that gets used a lot in shonen. I'll do a temporary multiplier, but it'll hurt me in the long run. Yeah. The spirit ball, which I think gets developed more later on, but I'm gathering my energy, from from life.
Yeah.
Itself, things like that definitely get played on well. And I would say even another show, which I would say, maybe we need to bring this one back. Because I think we've gotten away from it. But Goku, being let's go fight somewhere else. let's go take the fight away from the place. I think we've forgotten that.
We kind of did. Yeah.
That's a good point.
Because they just brawl in the cities now. they just brawl downtown now. They don't care, man. Jujutsu Kaisen and My Hero and whatnot. They are taking out entire city blocks. They are not taking you out to the countryside to fight anymore.
Let's go somewhere empty. I don't think I will. See, destroying blast.
This building looks like a great battering ram.
But yeah, so all right. So our last category, last but definitely not least in this case, hype moments in aura. Easy 5.
Easy 5 for
yeah.
The hype moments in this, man. There are so many. I'll just highlight one, and that's when Goku is stunting on Nappa.
Bruh, yes.
Bro,
Yeah.
when Goku knows he's stronger than Nappa, and he is
He
just,
knows it.
bro, there's no greater disrespect than like standing on that man's head, bro.
Yeah.
He's standing on that man's, he's standing on his head, he's yeah, and like Nappa can't do anything about it. But I'd say, yeah, they're so much hype, so many hype moments, so much aura, just a lot of cool poses.
Yeah,
and
a lot of shots contribute to that.
Yeah, builds up very well.
Yeah, I also like you also give it a 5. It feels like everyone really showed out, and there's a lot of good iconic scenes and moments with the paneling. Like I don't know if this would count towards hype and aura, but I think it's worth a mention. And that's when Yamcha, gets exploded, and that depth. If you know how bad you got to get sauced for your depth to get like a reference in like different media. You got the pose
curled up on the side.
Like that is man got done so dirty, but it that had to test of time, bro.
The craziest part I would say is Tien goes out even sorrier, but he doesn't get made fun of. Okay, Tien like fires a blast and does like nothing to Nappa, and then just passes out and dies.
Yeah.
Right? Which I think is a sorrier way to go, but Yamcha's just way more funny. Because I think the pose.
Yamcha thought he won, bro.
He thought he won. He thought he won. He was rad cocky. He gets blown up, and it's just him on the floor, face down, like curled up. I think it's so funny.
So like, I don't think it's sorry, right? Because Tien died attacking, right?
Yeah.
I think it's sorry when you're like, nah, bro, I'm the champ, and like somebody shows up behind you and it's like, yeah, right. It's crazy, bro. That was funny. Yeah. Oh man.
Chatsu blowing himself up for nothing, but that was a good scene though. That Chatsu
was a good scene, bro. Yeah, there's like smoke covering Nappa's body. He just appears just like, oh, you don't understand how strong we are, do you? Like,
yeah, there's levels to this.
It's so cold. It's so cold, bro. Cold.
They were sitting on everyone.
Yeah, bro.
Yeah, it was.
Oh, man.
This is an aura. This was a aura farming event for the ages.
Oh yeah, I'll say also, bro, I gotta shout out the introduction to Vegeta and Nappa. When it's like when it cuts them and they're on their planet and he's just like snacking on that alien bug.
Yeah.
And then they're just posed up and you get like, oh, okay, these guys are for real. Like they just got done mastering
destroying a planet. Yeah. Absolutely bodying everyone on it. Terrible. I'm sorry, guys. It's a 5 for me. I'm gonna keep it simple. I think you don't get aura. You don't get the phrase aura without Dragon Ball Z. I'm gonna go that far. I'm gonna go so far as to say you don't get the phrase aura. It doesn't exist. It doesn't exist without Dragon Ball Z. I think it has the most hype moments, like Supa O mentioned, like aura farming all through the joint. The moment Raditz shows up and just stands there, you're like, oh my God. Everyone's like, oh no, he's strong. I can feel his power from here. And then Krillin walks up just like, this drunk guy on our island, I don't even know how you got here, man. Get out of here, pal. Drunky. And Raditz is like, he just like stands there, arms folded, does not move. Hip slaps Krillin with his tail so hard, Krillin's head goes through the Kami house. There's just so many crazy moments of aura from all the villains in Dragon Ball Z, and then from Goku throughout the series, we get some really hype moments. Is really, really the origin of, I think, this category. It's a 5.
Okay, I think we got scores. So we're ready for the final score to see if this Dragon Ball Z Saiyan Saga is peak fiction or not. My score is a 4.6.
Let's do my thing.
I'm a 4.9.
4.6.
I'm a 4.7.
It is a 4.7. Which is pretty good. It's very good.
That's very good.
Dragon Ball Z Saiyan Saga is officially peak fiction. I mean, you already knew that.
Yeah.
Come on now.
I was actually very
surprised. We already knew that. I was nervous.
Who
would have thunk?
I'm actually very surprised how when I was rereading it, how much I actually like this, because originally, I was reading it, because we were gonna read it for today, to discuss it, but like, after like I was like done like with a set of chapters, like I really need to go back and read it. Then I'm itching to read more of this set. like it, like
It's good.
like
Good
I
writing.
did, like I did not think Saiyan Saga was that like high up until like I just reread it again. Right now, I'm like, oh no, it's up there. This might actually be past
It's
the
up there, bro.
It's like-
Yeah. It's debatable.
Yeah,
It's
this is-
debatable to me.
yeah, it's up there.
All right. So, I think that was a pretty good session. If you made it this far, leave a like, follow, subscribe. We have a Twitter, X. I think they call it X now.
No.
Peak of Fiction at Peak of Fiction. Come on, join the climbers. I think we're doing pretty well, and we have some pretty cool website ideas in the future. Next week, I'm not sure yet, but we do have some good things coming down the pipe. Some really great series and whatnot. So stick around, and we'll see what happens. But in the meantime, hope you all had a great time. We had a great time, and we'll check you. See you later.
Peace.
Peace out,
Bye.
everyone.